Conversation with an alien God. Conversation with an alien God. Book 3, chapter 3. Can we talk about this death business for a minute? You said this third book was going to be about higher truths, about universal truths. Well, through all the conversation we've heard, we haven't talked that much about death and what happens after that. Let's do that now. Let's get to that. Fine. What do you want to know? You see that they are a bit like evasive in the issue, the questions about death. They are a bit evasive. They don't want to go into details. What happens when you die? What you choose to have happen? You mean that what happens is whatever we choose to have happen? Do you think that just because you have died you stop creating? I don't know, that's why I'm asking you. Fair enough. You do know, incidentally, but I see you have forgotten. It's great. Everything's gone according to the master plan. When you die, you do not stop creating. Is that definitive enough for you? Yes. Good. Now, the reason you do not stop creating when you die is that you don't ever die. You cannot. For you, a life is self. And a life cannot not be life. Therefore, you cannot die. Just change, shift to frequency, clothes, etc. Shape shift. So at the moment of your death, what happens is you go on living. This is why so many people who have died, they do not believe it, because they do not have the experience of being dead. On the contrary, they feel, because they are very much alive, so there is confusion. The self may see the body lying there all crumpled up, nothing moving, yet the self is suddenly moving all over the place. It has the experience, often, of literally flying all over the room, then of being everywhere in the space all at once. And when it desires a particular point of view, it suddenly finds itself experiencing that. If the soul, the name we will now give to the self, wonders, gee, what's my body not moving? It will find itself right there, hovering right over the body, but cannot get in anymore. It's blocked. Watching the stillness curiously. If someone enters the room and the soul thinks, who is that? Immediately the soul is in front of or next to the person. Thus, in a very short time, the soul learns that it can go anywhere with the speed of its thought. A feeling of incredible freedom and lightness overtakes the soul, but this for a while. And it usually takes a little while for the entity to get used to all this bouncing around with every thought. If the person had children and should think of those children, immediately the soul is in the presence of those children. Wherever they are, just the soul learns that not only can it be wherever it wants with the speed of its thought, it can be in 2 places at once, or 3 places, or 5. It can exist, observe, and conduct activities in these places simultaneously, without difficulty or confusion, then it can rejoin itself, return to one's place again simply by refocusing. That's amazing. Amazing. The soul remembers in the next life what it would have been well to remember in this life. That all effect is created by thought, and that manifestation is a result of intention. What I focus on as my intention becomes my reality. Exactly. The only difference is the speed with which you experience the result. In the physical life, there might be a lapse between thought and experience. It takes more time because of, let's say, it's about time and space, about density, etc., which makes things delay. But in other life, this barrier are broken, and we can manifest things at the speed of light because we are operate with another kind of consciousness, another kind of matter. In the spirit's realm, there's no lapse. Results are instantaneous. Newly departed souls therefore learn to monitor their thoughts very carefully, because whatever they think of, they experience. Oh, that's bad, man. That's really bad. That's why be careful when need control when die. I use the word learn here very loosely, more as a figure of speech than an actual description. The term remember would be more accurate. If physicalized souls learn to control their thoughts as quickly and as efficiently as spiritualized souls, their whole lives would change. In the creation of individual reality, thought control, or what some might call prayer, is everything. Prayer, thought control, is the highest form of prayer. Therefore, think only on good things and righteous. Dwell not in negativity and darkness. Oh, that applies for me as well. And even in moments when things look bleak, especially in those moments when nothing go well, see only perfection, express only gratefulness, and then imagine only what manifestation of perfection you choose next. I'm gonna repeat. Thought control is the highest form of prayer. Therefore, think only on good things and righteous. Dwell not in negativity and darkness. And even in moments when things look bleak, especially in those moments, see only perfection. Express only gratefulness. And then imagine only what manifestation of perfection you choose next. In this formula is found tranquility. In this process is found peace. In this oneness is found joy. That's extraordinary. That's an extraordinary piece of information. Thanks for bringing that through me. Thanks for letting it come true. Sometimes you are cleaner than other times. Some moments you are more open, like a strainer which has just been rinsed. It's more open. There are more holes open. More holes effect. So too, do you use time as a microscopic person? 60. Good. Good way of putting it. I do my best. To recap then, souls released from the body quickly remember to monitor and control their thoughts very carefully. For whatever they think of, that's what they create and experience. I say again, it's the same for souls still residing with a body, except the results are usually not as immediate It is the time elapsed between thought and creation, which can be days, weeks, months, or even years, which creates the illusions that things are happening to you, not because of you. This is an illusion, causing you to forget that you are at the cause in the matter. As I have described it now several times, this forgetting is built into the system, is a part of the process. For you cannot create who you are until you forget who you are. So the illusion causing forgetfulness is in effect created on purpose. When you leave the body, it will therefore be a big surprise to see the instant and obvious connection between your thoughts and your creations. It will be a shocking surprise at first, and then a very pleasant one, as you begin to remember that you are a cause in the creation of your experience, not at the effect of it. Oh, I see. So he wants to say that everything that happens to us, even when we didn't ask for it, is our problem and is our responsibility. Very much convenient to create things, create configuration, then just leave all the responsibility to other people, all the karma, shift the karma to others. Why is there such a delay between thought and creation before we die, and no delay at all after we die? Because you are working within the illusion of time. There is no delay between thought and creation away from the body, because they are all function in the same line of time, the same time and space, same time continuum. And here we have the illusion that we are separated, divided, because you are also away from the parameter of time. In other words, as you have said so often, time does not exist, not as you understand it. The phenomenon of time is really a function of perspective. What does it exist while we are in the body? Why does it exist while we are in the body? You have caused it to by moving into, by assuming your present perspective. You use this perspective as a tool with which you can explore and examine your experiences much more fully by separating them into individual pieces rather than a single occurrence. Life is a single occurrence, an event in the cosmos that is happening right now. All of it is happening everywhere. There is no time but now. There is no place but here. Here and now is all there is. Yet you choose to experience the magnificency of here and now in its every detail, and to experience your divine self as the here and now creator of that reality. There were only two ways, two fields of experience in which you could do that: time and space. So magnificent was this thought that you literally exploded with delight. And that explosion of delight was created space between the parts of you, and the time it took to move from one part of yourself to another. In this way, you literally tore yourself apart to look at the pieces of you. You might say that you were so happy, you fell to pieces. You have been picking up the pieces ever since. I can imagine, I can grasp this. You talk about how the creation started, how the cosmos break into pieces and form all that is. That's all my life is. I'm just putting together the pieces, trying to see if they make any sense. And it is through the device called time that you have managed to separate the pieces, to divide the indivisible, just to see it and experience it more fully as you are creating it. Even as you look at a solid object through a microscope, see that it's not solid at all, but actually a conglomeration of a million different effects, different things all happening at once and just creating the larger effect. So too do you use time as the microscope of your soul. Consider the parable of the rock. Once there was a rock filled with countless atoms, protons, neutrons, and subatomic particles of matter. These particles were racing around continually in a pattern, each particle going from here to there and taking time to do so, yet going so fast that the rock itself seemed to move not at all. It just was. There it lay, drinking in the sun, soaking up the rain, and moving not at all. What is this inside of me that is moving? The rock asked. It's you, said a voice from afar. Me? Replied the rock. Why, that is impossible. I am not moving at all. Anyone can see that. Yes, from a distance see, the voice agreed. From way over here you do look as if you are solid still, not moving. But when I come closer, when I look very closely at what is actually happening, I see that everything that comprises what you are is moving. It's moving at an incredible speed through time and space in a particular pattern which creates you as the thing called rock. And so you are like magic. You are moving and not moving at the same time. But, asked the rock, which then is the illusion? The oneness, the stillness of the rock, or the separateness and the movement of its parts? To which the voice replied, which then is the illusion? The oneness, the stillness of God, or the separateness and movement of its parts? And I tell you this, upon this rock I will build my church, for this is the rock of ages. This is the eternal truth that leaves no stone unturned. I have explained it all for you here in this little story. This is the cosmology. Life is a series of minute, incredibly rapid movements. These movements do not affect at all the immobility and the beingness of everything there is. Yet, just as with the atoms of the rock, it is the movement which is creating the stillness right before your eyes. From this distance, there is no separateness. There cannot be. For all there is all there is, and there is nothing else. I am the unmoved mover. From the limited perspective with which you view all there is, you see yourself as separate and apart. Not one unmovable being, but many, many beings constantly in motion. Both observations are accurate. Both realities are real. And when I die, I don't die at all, but simply shift into oneness of the macrocosm, where there is no time or space, now and then, before and after, precisely. You have got it. Let me see if I can say it back to you. Let me see if I can describe it. Go ahead. From a macro perspective, there is no separateness. And from way back there, all the particles of everything merely look like the whole. As you look at the rock at your feet, you see the rock right then and there as wholly, complete and perfect. Yet, even in the fraction of a moment that you hold that rock in your world and see, there's a lot going on within the rock. There is incredible movement at incredible speed of the particles of the rock. And what are those particles doing? They are making the rock what it is. As you look at this rock, you do not see this process, even if you are conceptually aware of it. To you, it is all happening now. The rock isn't becoming a rock, it is a rock, right here, right now. Yet, if you were the consciousness of one of the submolecular particles inside the rock, you would experience yourself moving at insane speed, first here, then there. And if some voice outside the rock said to you, it's all happening at once, you'd call it a liar or a charlatan. Still, from the perspective of a distance from the rock, the idea that any part of the rock is separate from any other part and a father is moving around at insane speed would appear to be the lie. From that distance could be seen what could not be seen up close, that all is one and that all the movement hasn't moved anything. You have it. You have a grasp of it. What you are saying, and you are correct, is that life is all a matter of perspective. If you continue to see this truth, you will begin to understand the macro reality of God, and you will have unlocked a secret of the whole universe. All of it is the same thing. The universe is a molecule in the body of God. That's actually not so very far off. And it's not the micro reality that we return in consciousness when we do the thing called die. Yes, yet even the macro reality to which you return is but a macro reality of an even larger macro reality, which is a smaller part of a larger reality still, and so on and on and on forever and ever, and even forevermore, word without end. We are God, though it there is, constantly in the act of creating ourselves, constantly in the act of being what we are now, until we aren't that anymore, but become something else. Oh my God. Even the rock will not be a rock forever, but only what seems like forever before it was a rock. It was something else. It fossilized in the rock through a process taking hundreds of thousands of years. It was once something else and will be something else again. Yeah, precisely. And then I look back and I see so many hysteria, so many fears that things are changing, that we're gonna change. And our life is about change. Life is not some hysteric point in time or some still, stagnant water. Life is all about moving, changing, oscillating, differentiate, etc. The same is true of you. You were not always the you that you are now. You were something else, and today, as you stand there in your utter magnificency, you truly are something else again. Wow, that's amazing. I mean, that's absolutely amazing. I've never had anything like that. You have taken the holy cosmology of life and I put it in terms I can hold in my mind. That is amazing. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm doing my best. You are doing a damned good job. That's probably not the phrase you should have chosen there. Oops. Oops. Just kidding. Lightening things up here. Having a little fun. I cannot actually be offended, yet your fellow human beings often allow themselves to be offended on my behalf. So I've noticed, but getting back, I think I've just caught hold of something. What's that? This whole explanation rolled out when I asked a single question. How come time exists when we are in the body, but not when the soul is released? And what you seem to be saying is that time is really perspective, that it neither exists nor ceases to exist. But that as the soul alters its perspective, we experience ultimate reality in different ways. That's exactly what I'm saying. You've got it. And you were making the larger point that in the macrocosm, the soul is aware of the direct relationship between thought and creation, between one's ideas and one's experience. Yes, at the macro level, it's like seeing the rock and seeing the movement within the rock. There is no time between the movement of the atoms and the appearance of the rock it creates. The rock is, even as the movement occurs. The movements occur. Indeed, because the movements occur, this cause and effect is instant. The movement is occurring and the rock is being all at the same time. This is what the soul realizes at the moment of what you call death. They have one introspective, they see through everything and a minuscule details that cannot be explained. It is simply a change in perspective. You see more so you can understand more. It amplifies your vision. Inner vision is amplified. Your understanding as well. After that, you are no longer limited in your understanding. You see the rock and you see it into the rock. You will look at what now seem to be the most complex aspects of life and say, of course, it will all be very clear to you. Then there will be new mysteries for you to ponder as you move around the cosmic wheel. There will be larger and larger realities, bigger and bigger truths. Yet, if you can remember this truth, your perspective creates your thoughts, and your thoughts create everything. And if you can remember it before you leave the body, not after, your whole life will change. That's why the dead ones cannot be bothered about us, because I think those ones who are not thinking negatively, they are having a part over there. They are discovering a lot of things, so they don't have time to actually come back here and well, to fill a space in our void, fill a, yeah, filling a place in our void. And the way to control your thoughts to change your perspective. Precisely. Assume a different perspective and you will have a different thought about everything. In this way, you have learned to control your thought. And in the creation of your experience, controlled thought is everything. Some people call this constant prayer. You have said that this before, but I don't think I've ever thought of prayer in this way. Why not see what happens if you do so? If you imagine that the controlling and direction of your thoughts is the highest form of prayer, you would think only on good things and righteous. You would dwell not in negativity and darkness, though you may be immersed in it. And in moments when things look bleak, perhaps especially in those moments, you'd see only perfection. You have come back to that over and over again. I'm giving you tools. With these tools, you can change your life. I'm repeating the most important of them over and over again. I'm repeating them, for repetition will produce recognition. Knowing again when you need it the most. Everything that occurs, everything that has occurred, is occurring, and ever will occur, is the outward physical manifestation of your innermost thoughts, choices, ideas, and determinations regarding who you are and who you choose to be. Condemn not therefore those aspects of life with which you disagree. Seek instead to change them and the conditions that made them possible. Behold the darkness, yet curse it not. Rather be a light into the darkness, and so transform it. Let your light so shine before man that those who stand in the darkness will be illumined by the light of your being, and all of you will see at last who you really are. Be a bringer of the light, for your light can do more than illuminate your own path. Your light can be the light which truly lights the world. Shine on then, O illuminati. Shine on, that the moment of your greatest darkness may yet become your grandest gift. And even as you are gifted, so too will you gift others, giving to them the unspeakable treasure themselves. Let this be your task, let this be your greatest joy, to give people back to themselves even in their darkest hour, especially so in that hour. Beautiful. Very beautiful. The world waits for you. Heal it now. In the place where you are, there is much you can do. For my sheep are lost and must now be found. Be ye therefore as good shepherds, and I lead them back to me. That's chapter 4. Thank you for that call and for that challenge. Thank you for that placement of the goal before me. Thank you for always keeping me heading in the direction you know I really want to take. That's why I come to you. That's why I have beloved and blessed this dialogue. For it's in conversation with you that I find the divine within me and begin to see it within all others. My dearly beloved, the heavens rejoice when you say that. That's the very reason I have come to you and will come to everyone who calls to me, even as I have come now to those others. who are reading these words. For this conversation was never intended to be with you alone. It was intended for millions around the world. Millions, make it billions. And it has been placed in each person's hands just exactly when they have needed it. Sometimes in the most miraculous ways. It has brought them to the wisdom they themselves have called forth, perfectly suited for this moment in their lives. This is the wonder of what has been happening here, that each of you is producing this result by yourself. It looks as if someone else gave you this book, brought you to this conversation, opened you to this dialogue, yet you brought yourself here. So let us now explore together the remaining questions which you have held in your heart. May we please speak more of life after death? You were explaining what happens to the soul after death, and I so want to know as much about that as I can. We will speak of it then until your yearning has been satisfied. Might be so nice to die. I said earlier that what happens is whatever you want to have happen. I meant that you create your own reality not only when you are with the body, but when you are away from it. At first, you may not realize this, and so you may not be consciously creating your reality. Your experience will then be created by one of two other energies: your uncontrolled thoughts or the collective consciousness. To the degree that your uncontrolled thoughts are stronger than the collective consciousness, to that degree you will experience them as reality. To the degree that the collective consciousness is accepted, absorbed, and internalized, to that degree you will experience it as your reality. This is no different from how you create what you call reality in your present life. Always in life you have before you three choices. First, you may allow your uncontrolled thoughts to create the moment. Second, you may allow your creative consciousness to create the moment. Third, you may allow the collective consciousness to create the moment. Here is an irony. In your present life, you find it difficult to create consciously from your individual oneness. And indeed, often assume your individual understandings to be wrong, given all that you are seeing around you. And so you surrounded to the collective consciousness, whether it serves you to do so or not. That's so true. Very true. In your present life, you find it difficult to create consciously from your individual awareness. And indeed, often assume your individual understandings to be wrong, given all that you are seeing around you. And so you surrounded to the collective consciousness, whether it serves you to do so or not. In the first moments of what you call the afterlife, on the other hand, you may find it difficult to surrender to the collective consciousness, given all that you are seeing around you, which may be unbelievable to you. And so you will be tempted to hold to your own individual understandings, whether they serve you or not. I will tell you this. It is when you are surrounded by lower consciousness that you will benefit more from remaining with your individual understandings. Look at this. I will tell you this. It is when you are surrounded by lower consciousness, not just here in the body, but outside of it when we die, that you will benefit more from remaining with your individual understandings. And when you are surrounded by higher consciousness, that you receive greater benefit from surrender. So when you are in the company of the higher consciousness, you can surrender. Until now, hold on to yourself, your own perspective, your own ways, your own individuality after death. Otherwise, you're gonna fall into bad companies. I know because I've seen it with one of my relatives in the other side. That this entity tries to even harm me, but it's okay because I don't want to hold grudges and hatred, and I'm always forgiving, and I love this person no matter what. I love it. The memory of this person, so I don't allow it to affect me. But it was in the past. Now this being is okay. He's more tranquil now. It may therefore be wise to seek beings of high consciousness. I cannot overemphasize the importance of the company you keep, and also it applies for death. There's people who die and I get into company of not so bright entities. Okay, so your choices serve not just here on earth, but when you die as well. In what you call the afterlife, there is nothing to worry about on this score, for you will instantly and automatically be surrounded by beings of a high consciousness and by high consciousness itself. Not always, not always. Still, you may not know that you are being so lovely enveloped. You may not immediately understand. It may therefore seem to you as if you are having things happening to you, that you are at the whim of whatever fortunes are working at the moment. In truth, you experience the consciousness in which you die. Some of you have expectations without even knowing it. All your life you have had thoughts about what occurs after death. And when you die, those thoughts are made manifest, and you suddenly realize, make real what you've been thinking about. And it is your strongest thoughts, the ones you have held most fervently, that, as always in life, will prevail. Then a person could go to hell if people believed all during life that hell is a place which mostly certainly existed, that God will judge the quick and the dead, that He will separate the wheat from the chaff and the goats from the sheep, and that they are surely going to hell, given all that they have done to offend God. Then they would go to hell. They would burn in the everlasting fires of damnation. How could they escape it? You have said repeatedly throughout this dialogue that hell does not exist. Yet you also say that we create our own reality and have the power to create any reality at all out of our thought about it. So hellfire and damnation could and does exist for those who believe in it. Nothing exists in ultimate reality save that which is. You are correct in pointing out that you may create any sub-reality you choose, including the experience of a hell or purgatory, of hell as you describe it in purgatory. I have never said at any point in this entire dialogue that you could not experience hell. I say that hell does not exist. Most of what you experience does not exist here because you are creating with your mind. And that mind is illusion, the other side, sometimes here as well, is a hologram, is sometimes like binary or visual reality. Yet you experience it nonetheless. This is unbelievable. A friend of mine named Burnett Bain just produced a movie about this. About this exactly. It is August 7, 1998. See, 1998. As I write this sentence, see, I'm searching this and the dialogue in between lines of a discussion of 2 years ago, and I have never done this before. But just before sending this to the publishers, I was rereading the manuscript one last time, and I realized, hold it, Robin Williams had just made a movie about exactly what we are talking about here. It's called What Dreams May Come, and it's a startling depiction film of what you have just said. I think that one is partly fiction, that movie. I have watched it and I found it, yeah, it can happen, but also there's a bit of fantasy in that. I'm familiar with it. You are? God goes to the movies, God makes movies. Wow. Yes, you never saw. Oh, God? Well, sure, but what? You think God only writes books? So is the Robbie Williams movie literally true? It means, is that how it is? No. No movie, book, or other human explanation of the divine is literally true. Not even the Bible. The Bible is not literally true. No. And I think you know that. Well, what about this book? Surely this book is literally true. No. I hate to tell you this, but you are bringing this through your personal filter. Now I will agree that the mesh on your filter is thinner, finer. You have become a very good filter, but you are a filter nonetheless. I know that. It. I just want it started again here because some people take books like this and movies like What Dreams May Come as the literal truth, and I want to stop them from doing that. The writers and producers of the film brought some enormous truth to imperfect filter. The point they sought to make is that you will experience after death exactly what you expect and choose to experience. They made that point very effectively. Now, shall we get back to where we were? Yes, I would like to know just what I wanted to know when I was watching that movie. If there is no hell, yet I'm experiencing hell, what the hell is the difference? There wouldn't be any as long as you remain in your created reality. Yet you will not create such a reality forever. Oh! You won't create such a reality forever, but still exists. Whether it lasts for 1 year, 1 month, 1 week, it still exists. Yet you will not create such a reality forever. Some of you won't experience it for more than what you would call a nanosecond. Wait a minute, but 1 nanosecond in there is not the same as here. 1 nanosecond in there could be maybe a month or a few months there. And therefore you will not experience even the private domains of your own imagination, a place of sadness or suffering. What will stop me from creating such a place for all eternity if I believe it all my life that there was such a place and that something I had done had caused me to deserve such a place? Your knowledge and understanding. Just as in this life your next moment is created out of the new understandings you have gained from your last moment, so too in what you call the afterlife will you create a new moment from what you've come to know and understand in the old. And one thing you will come to know and understand very quickly is that you are a choice always about what you wish to experience. Hey, but wait a minute. What we wish to experience depends on our choices. It's not choices that choices are given to us. Either you do this or either you agree and make contract or isn't it? That's because in the afterlife results are instantaneous and that you will not be able to miss the connection between your thoughts about a thing and the experience those thoughts create. You will understand yourself to be creating your own reality. This would explain why some people's experience is happy and some people's experience is frightening, why some people's experience is profound while other people's experience is visually non-existent, and why so many different stories exist about what happens in the moments after death. Some people come back from near-death experiences filled with peace and love and with no fear ever again of death, while others return very frightened, certain that they have just encountered dark and evil forces. There is a movie also is about that talks about it is that move I forgot the name, but it's very impressive move. The move that I touch on this subject is flatline. Is a group of I guess university, they are biology university undergraduate, or they are undergraduate doctor scientists. I don't know. They actually make an experiment to be given one kind of I don't know what's that, is to flatten, to to give flat line to your heart so that stop and you die for a while. And after that, once someone gives him the injection, he go flat line. Within few minutes, they will have to bring him back by pumping his heart back. You see, let's say a group of friends, like 3 5 friends, then one is applied one injection. It's like kind of anesthesia that makes the heart go is flat line stop. Okay, so they count the minutes, cannot go beyond certain minutes, otherwise it will be dangerous. So after that moment is over, they will have to apply massage in the heart and resuscitate that person back to life. I don't know, I think one of them died in the process, and the others who come back with a near death experience. Some okay, and the others very frightening. Some had very frightening experience in the other side. I've seen this very nice move and interesting one. I think from the 90s. So The soul responds to recreates, so no fear again of death, while others return very frightened, return that they have just encountered dark and evil forces. The soul responds to recreates the mind's most powerful suggestion, producing that in its experience. Some souls remain in that experience for a time, make it very real, even as they remained in their experiences while with the body, though they were equally as unreal and impermanent. Other souls quickly adjust, see the experience for what it is, begin to think new thoughts, and move immediately to new experiences. How? Through dreams? Who knows? I have seen some of people I know who passed away, and well, they were fighting. They were fighting here as a husband and wife, and the other side they were fighting, and the men have been there for maybe decades. He died when he died. I think he died in the late 90s, the husband. The wife died last year, and they were fighting. And the worst thing is that I've seen the husband now. By now, he's a frog. He has turned into a frog, uh, amphibious. It was, for me, it was not frightening because I am sad for this kind of thing. So I just look at this scene from afar, and I try to apaciguate them. I try to be an arbiter. I went there to try to make peace between these people, and there were the son of the lady who passed away, and this son is not dead. He's here on earth yet. He also was there watching his parents fighting, but both his parents dead. And the worst yet, the man was accusing the wife of something, and she was very, very angry for him, very angry, and they were fighting over there. The soul responded to, okay, do you mean that there is no one particular way things are in the afterlife? Are there no internal truths that exist outside of our own mind? Do you continue to go on creating myths and legends and make-believe experiences right past our death and into the next reality? When do we get released from the bondage? When do we come to know the truth? When you choose to. That was the point of the Robin Williams movie. That's the point being made here. Those who only decides to know the internal truth of all there is, to understand the great mystery, to experience the grandest reality, do so. Yes, there is a one great truth, there is a final reality, but you will always get what you choose, regardless of that reality, precisely because the reality is that you are a divine creature, divinely creating your reality even as you are experiencing it. I find it hard to grasp, really. It's very difficult for me to concept all this, to concept, I don't know, to absorb all this and to accept even. Yet, should you choose to stop creating your own individual reality and begin to understand and experience the larger, unified reality, you will have an immediate opportunity to do that. Those who die in a state of such choosing, of such deciding, of such willingness, and such knowing, move into the experience of the oneness here once. Others move into the experience only if, as, and when they so desire. It's precisely the same when the soul is with the body. It's all a matter of desire, of your choosing, of your creating, and ultimately of your creating the uncreatable. That is, of your experiencing that which has already been created. This is the created creator, the unmoved mover. It's the Alpha and the Omega, the before and the after, the now, then, always aspect of everything which you call God. I will not forsake you, yet I will not force myself upon you. I have never done so, and I will never will. You may return to me whenever you wish, now, while you are with the body, or after you have left it. You may return to the one and experience the loss of your individual self whenever it pleases you. Wait a minute. This entity says, I will not forsake you, yet I will not force myself upon you. That's okay because there's a free will anyway. I have never done so and I never will. You may return to me whenever you wish. Now, while you are with the body or after you have left it. You may return to the one. Look at the one. That means the one is divided, is separate from it. So the one and this entity is not the same. So he's not God. Since the one is God, what? And experience the loss of your individual self whenever it pleases you. You may also recreate the experience of individual self whenever you choose. That means when we die, we're gonna suffer until we join with this being, the society. We recognize that he's God and blah blah blah, then you're gonna be saved. Otherwise, you're gonna be in trouble on the side. Is it? Or he claimed that when we seek nirvana or go back to oneself, mean that gonna be recycled. They can do that then at this side. It's called the second death. You may experience at the any aspect of the all that you wish, and it's the tiniest proportion or it is grandest. You may experience the microcosm or the macrocosm. I may experience the particle or the rock. Yes, good, you are getting this. When you reside with the human body, you are experiencing a smaller portion than the whole. There is a portion of the microcosm, although by no means the smallest portion thereof. When you reside away from the body in what some would call the spirit world, you have enlarged by quantum leaps your perspective. You will suddenly seem to know everything, be able to be everything. You'll have a microcosmic view of things, allowing you to understand that which you do not now understand. One of the things you will then understand only to get everything erased again, placed in another body, shoot it back to 3D again. One of the things you will then understand is that there is a larger macrocosm still. There is. You will suddenly become clear that all there is even greater than the reality you are then experiencing. This will fill your wants with war and anticipation, wonder and excitement, joy and exhilaration. For you will then know and understand what I know and understand, that the game never ends. Will I ever get to a place of true wisdom? In the time after your death, you may choose to have every question you ever had answered, and open yourself to new questions you never dreamed existed. You may choose to experience one is all there is. and that you will have a chance to decide what you wish to be, do, and have next. Do you choose to return to your most recent body? Do you choose to experience life again in human form but of another kind? Huh? Life in human body but of another kind. Are they still here, exist like the neanderthal, Homo sapiens, no, Homo erectus, Homo florensis, the Denisovans, are they around yet? Do you choose to return to your most recent body? Do you choose to experience life again in human form but of another kind? Do you choose to remain where you are in the spirit world? Or could it be also alien, because alien is also called humanoid? At the level you are in experience, do you choose to go on, go farther in your knowing and experiencing? Do you choose to lose your identity altogether and now become part of the oneness? What do you choose? What do you choose? What do you choose? Always, that's the question I will be asking you. Always, that's the inquiry of the universe. For the universe knows nothing except how to grant your fondest wish. Your greatest desire indeed. It's doing that every moment, every day. The difference between you and me is that you are not consciously aware of this. I am. I wish then to go back and I say have another life with my mother and one of my sisters. That's all. Tell me, will my relatives, my loved ones, meet me after I die and help me understand what is going on, as some people say they will? Will I be reunited with those who have gone before? We will be able to spend eternity together. What do you choose? Do you choose for these things to happen? Then they will. Oh my God, it will be so great. I can't wait to see my mother and my sister. Okay, I'm confused. Are you saying that all of us have free will and that this free will extend even past our death? Yes, that's what I'm saying. If that's true, then the free will of my loved ones would have to coincide with mine. They must have the same thought and desire that I have when I'm having it, or they wouldn't be there for me when I die. Father, what if I wanted to spend the rest of eternity with them, and one or two of them wanted to move on? Maybe one of them wanted to move higher and higher into this experience of reunification with the oneness, as you put it. Then what? Yeah, exactly. Good question. Good question. There is no contradiction in the universe. There are things that look like contradictions, but they are known in fact. But you say that there are contradictions, what's called dichotomy or dichotomy. Should a situation arise such as the one you describe? It's a very good question, by the way. What will happen is that you'll both be able to have what you choose. Both, both. Wow, that's great. But how? I want to reincarnate my sister and my mother again. May I ask how? You may. Okay, how? What is your thought about God? Do you think that I exist in one place only? No, I think you exist everywhere at once. I believe God is omnipresent. Well, you are right about that. There's no way that I'm not. Do you understand this? I think so. Good. So, what makes you think it is indifferent with you? Because you are God and I am a mere mortal. I see. We are still hung up on this mere mortal thing. Okay. I suppose I assume for the sake of discussion that I too I am God, or at least made up of the same stuff as God. Then, as you say that I too can be everywhere all the time, it's merely a matter of what the consciousness chooses to hold in its reality, in what you would call the spirit world. What you can imagine, you can experience. Now, if you want to experience yourself being one soul in one place at one time, you may do that. Yet, if you wish to experience your spirit being larger than that, being more than one place at one time, you may do that as well. Indeed, you may experience your spirit as being anywhere you wish, anytime. That's because in truth there is only one time in one place. And you are in all of it always. You may thus experience any part or parts of it you wish, whenever you choose. That means that his question, he asked whether if he want to stay with his I understand that he misses his loved one a lot, his parents. So if he want to stay with them, either the other side or maybe in another reincarnation, if the mother and father maybe disagree, then how it will be. Then the entity say that yes, can be possible because we also as a soul we are omnipresent, so you cannot must you can be in different place at the same time. So yes, a part of my mother and my sister can be with me. Oh, I understand now. A fraction of their soul can break into pieces and be with me and create another being that will have a life with me, maybe in another world or this planet, doesn't matter. So one piece of them will come and have a life with me, and another pieces go elsewhere. Oh, I understand now. I understand. Oh my gosh, that's that. But they're not gonna be whole, and they'll not remember me that I'm their sister and their daughter. They will never understand. They will never remember that I once their sister and a daughter in the other life, because maybe their memory, past life memory, will be erased. What if I want my relatives to be with me, but one of them wants to be a part of the all that's somewhere else? What then? It's not possible for you and your relatives not to want the same thing. Huh? It's not possible for you and your relatives not to want the same thing. You and I and your relatives and I, all of us are one and the same. Oh, okay. Because it's a God self, it's a higher self. The very act of your desiring something is the act of me desiring something, since you are simply me. Oh my God, that's crazy. I laugh because that's crazy. I know this is the I am self, the God self, acting out the experience called this one is the I am self of the human race. Do you understand? Human race have a God self, the cat have a God self, the dog have a God self, or the animals have a God self, and so on and so forth. The very act of desiring something is the act of me desiring something, since you are simply me acting out the experience called desire. Therefore, what you desire, I desire. Your relatives and I are also one and the same. Therefore, what I am desiring, they are desiring. So it follows then that what you desire, your relatives are also desiring. Honest, it's also true that all of your desire the same thing. You desire peace, you desire prosperity, you desire joy, that's true. You desire fulfillment, yeah. You desire satisfaction, yeah. In a self-expression in your work, correct. Love in your life, health in your body, health. You all desire the same thing, correct. You think this is a coincidence? It's not. Yeah, because the human race belongs to the same God self. It's the way life works. I'm explaining that to you right now. Now, the only thing that's different on earth from the way it is in what you call the spiritual world is that on earth, while you all decide the same thing, you all have different ideas about how to go about having it. So you are all going different directions, seeking the same thing. Correct again. It is these different ideas that you have that produce your differing results. These ideas might be called your sponsoring thoughts. I have spoken to you of this before. Yes, in book 1. One such thought which many of you share in common is the idea of insufficiency. Many of you believe at the core of your being that there is simply not enough. Not enough of anything. There is not enough love, not enough money. That's true, that's very true. Not enough food, yeah, correct. Not enough clothing, not enough shelter, not enough time, not enough good ideas to go around, and certainly not enough of you to go around. This sponsoring thought causes you to employ all sorts of strategies and tactics in seeking to acquire what you think there is not enough of. These approaches you would abandon at once were you clear that there is enough for everybody of whatever it is that you desire. In what you call heaven, your ideas of not enoughness disappear because you become aware that there is no separation between you and anything you desire. You are aware that there is even more than enough of you. You are aware that you can be in more than one place at any given time. So there is no reason not to want what your brother wants, not to choose what your sister chooses. If they want you in their space at the moment of their death, the very thought of you calls you to them, and you have no reason not to race to them. Oh, how beautiful, I want that. Since you're going there, takes away nothing from whatever else you may be doing. It's my wish to see my mom and my sister. This state of having no reason to say no is the state in which I reside at all times. You have heard it said before, and it's true. God never says no. I will give you all exactly what you desire, always, even as I have done from the beginning of time. Okay, thank you. Although I don't have everything that I need, not even say what I want, but what I need, but I still say thank you. Are you really always giving everyone exactly what they desire at any given time? They are not given even what we need. Imagine what we desire. Yes, my beloved, I am. Your life is a reflection of what you desire. In what you believe, you may have what you desire. I don't believe that. I cannot give you what you do not believe you may have, no matter how much you desire it, because I will not violate your own thought about it. I cannot. That's the law. Believing that you cannot have something is the same thing as not desiring to have it. That's no sense, because I desire to have something, but yet I don't have. for it produces the same result. There's no sense. I don't believe in that. I'm sorry. Because I have been desiring, even desire, but in the needy to having something, and then still I don't have, and I say I want it, but as they say, is we don't give you what you want, we give you what you need, and even what you need sometimes don't have. But honest, we cannot give whatever we desire. We cannot be in two places at once, for instance, and there are many other things we may desire but cannot have, because on that we are also limited. I know that you see it that way, and so that is the way it is for you. For one thing that remains internally true is that you will always be given the experience you believe you will be given. Thus, if you say that you cannot be in two places at once, then you cannot be. But if you say that you can be anywhere you wish, if the speed of your thought, if your thought but not the body, let's be practical here, with the thought, during sleep, through dreams, out of the body experiences, but not with the body, cannot be. Like we learn in science that one place cannot occupy the same space at once. One body, one matter cannot take up different space at the same time. That's what we learn, and maybe I learned it in grade 3. Okay, grade 3 I've learned it. And you can even make yourself manifest in physical form in more than one place at any given time. Then you may do that. And other frequency when we die, but not here in this body. Can even make yourself manifest in physical form in more than one place at one given time. Then we can, but with practice. Can we shape-shift? You can, but you must practice it. It's not easy. Now, you see, that's where this dialogue lives with me. I want to believe that this information is coming straight from God, but when you say things like that, I get all crazy inside because I just can't believe that. I mean, I just don't think what you have said that is true. Nothing in the human experience here has demonstrated that. No, there are, but you need practice, years of practices of the shaman. On the contrary, saints and sages of all religions have been said to have done both of these things. Does it take a very high level of belief, an extraordinary level of belief, the level of belief attained by one being in 1,000 years? Yes. Does that mean it's impossible? No. Yeah. Okay. It's possible, but I wouldn't say that it's easy either. It's difficult. It's not that simple as you put it up to be. As I said earlier, you need years and years and years, a lifetime of practice to make it happen. We cannot shape-shift until we die. That's all. How can I create that belief? How can I get to that level of belief? Yeah, exactly. So when we want to happen and nothing happen, I don't believe that. You cannot get there. You can only be there. And I'm not trying to play with words. I mean that. This kind of belief, what I would call complete knowing, is not something you try to acquire. In fact, if you are trying to acquire it, you cannot have it. It's something you simply are. You simply are this knowing. You are this being. Such being in C comes out of a state of total oneness. It can come out on such a state. If you are seeking to become aware, then you cannot be. It's like trying to be 6 feet tall when you are 4'9". You cannot be 6 feet tall. You can only be what you are, 4'9". You will be 6 feet tall when you grow into that. When you are 6 feet tall, you will then be able to do all the things that 6 feet tall people can do. And when you are in a state of total oneness, then be able to do all the things that beings in a state of total oneness can do. Do not therefore try to believe that you can do these things. Try instead to move to a state of total oneness. Then belief will no longer be necessary. Complete knowing will work its wonders. Once, when I was meditating, I had the experience of total oneness. Total oneness. It was wonderful. It was ecstatic. Ever since then, I have been trying to have that experience again. I sit in meditation, try to have that total oneness again, and I have never been able to. This is the reason, right? You are saying to me that as long as I'm seeking to have something, I cannot have it. Because my very seeking is a statement that I do not now have it. The same wisdom you have been giving me throughout this dialogue. Yes, now you understand it. It's becoming more clear to you now. That's why we keep going around in circles here. That's why you keep repeating things, revisiting things. You get the third, the fourth, maybe the fifth time around. Well, I'm glad I asked the question because this could be dangerous stuff. This business about you can be in two places at once or you can do anything you want to do. This is the kind of stuff that makes people run to jump off the Empire State Building shouting, I am God, look at me, I can fly. Well, that one's lunatic people. As to be in two places at the same time, I have tried this but out of the body. I went to the place where I stay, in my childhood place, and I would linger around like a ghost. I guess that many ghosts that you see around ghosts, that see are actually incarnated people who are in the body living here right now in the body. Since that they leave their body this way and their soul goes somewhere, but then they come back again to the body. You had better be in a state of total warning, see, before you do that. If you have to prove yourself to be God by demonstrating it to others, then you do not know yourself to be. And this not knowing will demonstrate itself in your reality. In short, you will fall flat on your face. God seeks to prove himself to no one, for God has no need to do that. God is, and that is what is so. Those who know themselves to be one with God or have the experience of God within have no need, nor do they seek to prove that to anyone, least of all themselves. And so it was that when they taunted him, say, if you are the Son of God, come down from the cross. The man called Jesus did nothing. Yeah. Because he don't need to make a fool of himself and prove nothing. Yet 3 days later, quietly and unobtrusively, when there were no witnesses and no crowds and no one to whom to prove anything, he did something a great deal more astonishing, and the world has been talking about it ever since. And this miracle is found your salvation, for you have been shown the truth, not only of Jesus, but of who you are, and may just be saved from the lie about yourself, which you have been told, and which you have accepted as your truth. God invites you always to your highest thought about yourself. There are those on your planet right now who have manifested many of these higher thoughts, including causing physical objects to appear and disappear, making themselves appear and disappear even living forever in the body, or coming back to the body and living again. And all of this has been made possible because of their faith, because of their knowing, and also their diet. But it's very hard to get. It's not a thing that's very common, it's very rare. Because of their immutable clarity about how things are and how they are meant to be. And while in the past, whenever people in earthly form had done these things, you have called the events miracles and have made the people saints and saviors. Yet there are no more saints and saviors than you. For you are all saints and saviors, which the very message they have been bringing you. Correct? How can I believe that? I want to believe that with all my heart, but I can't. I just can't. It's because you are not through yet. You are still inside the box, your hologram. No, you cannot believe it. You can only know it. How can I know it? How can I come to that? Whatever you choose for yourself, give to another. If you cannot come to that, help someone else come to that. Tell someone else that they already have. Praise them for it. Honor them for it. This is the value in having a guru. That's the whole point. The whole point. There has been a lot of negative energy in the West on the word guru. It has almost become pejorative to be a guru. Is to somehow be a charlatan. To give you, yeah, but they cannot be wrong about it. There's a lot of charlatans under the term of guru nonetheless. To give you a largian seat to a guru is to somehow give your power away. That's true, what? Honoring your guru is not giving your power away, it's getting your power. But when you honor the guru, when you praise your master teacher, what you say is, I see you. In what you see in another, you can begin to see in yourself. It is outward evidence of your inner reality. It's outward proof in your inner truth, the truth of your being. This is the truth which is being brought through you in the books you write. I don't see myself as writing these books. I see you, God, as the author, and me as a Mary the scribe. Poor thing, you don't want to get in the hot water just like Jesus did. God is the author, and so are you. You don't want to get in hot water. There is no difference between my writing them and you writing them. Yeah, but the people don't understand. They are still sleeping, walking this planet. And because of this, many have been seriously punished, for saying these things. But now I feel that the world is more open with the advent of the internet. It's more open, there's more freedom of thought, etc. As long as you think there is, you will have missed the point of the writing itself. Yet most of humanity has missed these teachings. And so I send you new teachers, more teachers, all with the same message as the teachers of old. I understand your reluctance to accept the teaching as your own personal truth. Were you to go around claiming to be the one with God or even a part of God, speaking or writing these words, the world would not know what to make of you. Correct. This is what I want to sell. A little sickening fanatics religions people. We say that this man is blaspheme, this man is a liar, is a fake guru. They even say in the last days, this book has said that there will come a lot of false prophet. And there has been only one prophet, the last one, and after him will be no others, will come no others. That's what certain people would tell, So people can make me whatever they wish. This much I know. I do not deserve to be the recipient of this information I have been given here. And in all of these books, I do not feel worthy to be the messenger of this truth. I am working on this third book, yet I know, even before its release, that I, of all people, with all the mistakes I have made, all the selfish things I have done, I am simply not worthy to be the bringer of this wonderful truth. Yet that perhaps is the greatest message of this trilogy, that God stays hidden from no man, but speaks to everyone, even the least word among us. For if God will speak to me, God will speak directly into the heart of every man, human, and child who seeks the truth. Correct, that's correct. There is thus hope for all of us. None of us is so horrible that God would forsake us, nor so unforgivable that God wouldn't turn away. Is that what you believe? All of that which you have just written? Yes. Then so be it, and so shall it be with you. Yet I tell you this, you are worthy, as is everyone else. Unworthiness is the worst indictment ever visited upon the human race. See, unworthiness is the worst indictment ever visited upon the human race. You have based your sense of worthiness on the past, while I base your sense of worthiness on the future. The future. The future, always the future. That is where your life is. Not in the past. The future. That is where your truth is. Not in the past. What you have done is unimportant compared to what you are about to do. How you have erred is insignificant compared to how you are about to create. Correct. Very correct. It doesn't matter the past, it matters the present. I forgive your mistakes. All of them. I forgive your misplaced passions. All of them. I forgive your erroneous notions, your misguided understandings, your hurtful actions, your selfish decisions. All of them. Others may not forgive you, but I do. Others may not release you from your guilt, but I do. Others may not let you forget, allow you to go on, become something new, but I do. For I know that you are not what you were, but are and always will be what you are now. A sinner can become a saint in 1 minute, in 1 second, in 1 breath. In truth, there is no such thing as a sin, for no one can be sinned against, least of all me. That is why I say that I forgive you. I use the phrase because it is one you seem to understand. In truth, I do not forgive you and will not forgive you ever for anything. I do not have to. There is nothing to forgive, correct? Correct. That's very correct. But I can release you, and I hereby do now once again, as I have done so often in the past, through the teachings of so many other teachers. Why have we not heard them? Why have we not believed this, your greatest promise? because you cannot believe the goodness of God. Forget then about believing my goodness. Believe instead in simple logic. If God is all this, then I don't know. I would ask forgiveness, and I would say, yeah, God is wonderful, and all there is. The reason I have no need to forgive you is that you cannot offend me. Yeah, but they have created one religion, one system of religion construct whereby they create a very vengeful God, ones that is so egocentric that he accepts no wrongdoings. He accepts no betrayal, and that he will punish everybody and everyone who do things contrary to what he sees as fit. And the same thought keeps people away from this God, this angry, this punitive kind of God, this hateful God, this egocentric God. This is what keeps people away from him, you know. This kind of God that men created in their minds. When the true God might be so lovely, so um, permissive, and so accepting and forgiving. The reason I have no need to forgive you is that you cannot offend me, nor can I be damaged or destroyed. Yet you imagine yourself capable of offending, even damaging me. What an illusion! What a magnificent obsession! You cannot hurt me, nor can I be harmed in any way. For I am the unharmable, and that which cannot be harmed cannot and would not harm another. You understand now the logic behind the truth that I do not condemn, nor shall I punish, nor have I need to seek retribution. I have no such need, for I have not been and cannot be offended or damaged or hurt in any way. That's why I have run away from religion's God, because it's a very hurtful God, you know. It's a very negative entity. But I carry a God in my heart, and this is the kind of God that I want to follow, that I want to believe it exists. I have no such need, for I have not been, cannot be offended. The same is true of you and of all others. Through all of you imagine that you can be and have been hurt and damaged and destroyed. Because you imagine damage, you require revenge. Because you experience pain, you need another to experience pain as retribution for your own, Yet, what possible justification can that be for inflicting pain upon another? Because you imagine someone has inflicted injury upon you. You feel right and proper to inflict injury in return? That which you say is not okay for human beings to do to each other. It's okay for you to do, so long as you are justified. This is insanity. And what you do not see in this insanity is that all people who inflict pain on others assume themselves to be justified. Every action a person takes is understood by that person to be the right action, given what it is they seek and desire. But your definition, what they seek and desire, is wrong. But by their definition is not. You may not agree with their model of the world, with their moral and ethical construction, with their theological understandings, nor with their decisions, choices, and actions, but they agree with them based on their values. You call their values wrong, but who is to say your values are right? Only you. Your values are right because you say they are. Even this might make some sense if you kept your word about it. But you yourself change your mind constantly about what you consider right and wrong. You do this as an individual and do this as societies. I haven't. What your societies considered you right just a few decades ago, you consider wrong today. To me, wrong is to do unto others that which I don't want for myself. Like, okay, I violate one person sexually wise, I rape somebody, I I act in a way that will harm somebody who is vulnerable, who I see as a weak, would be elderly, a child, an animal. That's for me is what is insane and a coward action. So for me this is wrong. You can say it's right, but I don't think it's right. It's wrong. And I finish. Why must I follow this? Wrong in the not too distant past you now call right. Who can tell what is what? By feelings. By feelings. Do unto others. Okay, you are doing something, make them people laughing, make people happy. You give candy to a child, make him happy. You take him to the merry-go-round, take him to the playground. You make him happy. You take him to the beach. He plays with the sand. He's happy. He's laughing. He's giggle. The same with the animal. You take them out. They are happy. You give them their special food. They love. They eat. They are happy. Then you also feel happy. Then you know you make something or someone else happy. Then you know what's happening is. What's feel good to do unto others. So what you are doing unto that being, you are doing to yourself. That's simple. So you know you have to separate the wheat from the chaff. Who can tell what is what? How do you know the players without the scorecard? Simple. See the kind of game they are playing. It's simple. And yet we dare to sit in judgments of one another. We dare to condemn because some other person has failed to keep up with our own changed ideas about what's permitted and what is not. Whew, we are really something. We can't even keep our own minds made up about what is okay and what's not. Well, I do. I do. Why should I change my mind? I haven't changed my mind about what is right or wrong. I mean, if I hurt animal is wrong, if I hurt a child is wrong, if I hurt an elderly, my parents is wrong. So I know what's right and wrong, what? That isn't the problem. Change your ideas of what is right and wrong isn't the problem. You have to change those ideas or you would never grow. Change is a product of evolution. No, the problem is not that you have changed or that your values have changed. The problem is that so many of you insist on thinking that the values you now have are the right and perfect ones, that everyone else should adhere to them. Some of you have become self-justified and self-righteous. That would be me. Stick to your beliefs if that serves you. Hold it tight. Do not waver. For your ideas about right and wrong are your definitions of who you are, correct? Yet, do not require that others define themselves according to your terms. And do not stay so stuck in your present beliefs and customs that you hold to the process of evolution itself. What is evolution? I mean, does mean I have to fall down the ladder of evolution to define myself as evolved? Okay, now I like my way of life. Not say I like, but I like my values. I like my moral value system. So if I don't change, I will be what stuck it up, and I'm not going to involve myself. And I have to fall back and I do something stupid to evolve. That's crazy. That mean go back to square one? No. Actually, you could not do that if you wanted to, for life goes on. With you or without you. Nothing stays the same, nor can anything remain unchanged. To be unchanged is not to move. And do not move is to die, correct? All of life is motion. Even rocks are filled with motion. Everything moves. Everything. There is nothing that's not in motion. There is a clogged situation. Therefore, by the very fact of motion, nothing is the same from one moment to the next. No thing. Remain the same or seeking to moves against the laws of life. This is foolish because in this struggle, life will always win. We have to do so we got another game back to square one. So change, yes, change. Change your ideas of right and wrong. And God now shouts, exclamation mark. Change your notions of this and that. Change your structures, your constructions, your models, your theories. Allow your deepest truths to be altered. Alter them yourself for goodness sake. I mean that quite literally. Alter them yourself for goodness sake, because your new idea of who you are is where the growth is. Your new idea of what is so is where evolution accelerates. Your new idea of the who, what, where, when, how, and why of it is where the mystery gets solved. The plot unravels, the story ends, then can begin a new story in a grander one. Your new idea about all of it is where the excitement is, where the creation is, where God in you is made manifest and becomes fully realized. No matter how good you think things have been, they can be better. No matter how wonderful you think your theologies, your ideologies, your cosmologies, they can be full of even more wonder. For there are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamed of in your philosophy. Be open, therefore, be open. Don't close off the possibility of new truth because you have been comfortable with an old one. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. Open your mind. They talk about it to your people who are, it means is referring to those people who are stuck in a religion system. Yet, be not quick to judge another, rather seek to avoid judgment. For another person's wrongs were your rights of yesterday morning. Another person's mistakes are your own past actions, now corrected. Another person's choices and decisions are as hurtful and harmful, as selfish and unforgivable as men of your own have been. Yeah, that's correct. Is when you just can't imagine how another person could do such a thing that you have forgotten where you came from and where both you and the other person are going. And to those of you who think yourselves to be the evil ones, who think yourselves to be unworthy and irredeemable, I tell you this, there is not a one among you who is lost forever, nor will there ever be, for you are all in the process of becoming. You are all moving through the experience of evolution. This is what I'm up to through you. And so that's it for now, and it has been a lot long journey, a lot to absorb, a lot to digest and think about. But it has been a very beautiful dialogue indeed, and I open up a lot of a lot of minds and all our concepts and preconceived preconceived notions.